I used to just go by what's trending to decide the tech stack of any project. But then I had to deal with major performance issues, server crashes, and even client escalations. And then I knew that I need to change. Multiple technologies, reading their documentation, and testing them all out, I finally got to know that which stack works best for which project. And in today, I'm going to share the same with you. The video is going to be divided into three parts. In the first part, we will see that what tech stack is actually that we are referring. In the second part, we will see the key consideration that you need to keep in mind while deciding the tech stack. And in the third part, we will finally see the full tech stack example guide that will guide you. So let's start with the first part. What we exactly mean by a tech stack? A tech stack refers to the combination of different technologies used to build and run a project. It includes everything from the front end that the user actually sees and interacts with to the backend where the business logic resides and the database where all the data gets stored ultimately. And supporting tools like hosting, libraries, and infrastructure can also be considered as a tech stack. For example, when a client approaches you with a specific requirement for a website or a web application, your job isn't just to build it. It is to choose the right front-end framework, back-end framework, database, and deployment setup that best fits their need, scale, and the long-term goals. So choosing a tech stack isn't just about using your favorite technology. It's also about picking what actually fits the project needs and goals. So now come to the next part. That is the key consideration while deciding the tech stack. Now the question arises, how do we exactly determine which stack to use? Sometimes you have experience in one stack, but not necessarily that the same stack will actually fit all types of projects. So here comes the 6 questions that you need to consider while deciding the tech stack. Number 1, learning curve. So how difficult is the tech stack to learn and how long it will take you before you can feel confident using it? If it takes too long to become productive, it can slow down your project and career growth. Choose something where you can build things really very quickly and without constantly being feel stuck. For example, if you already know JavaScript well, then learning Node.js or Next.js will compound faster than jumping to an entire different programming language. And in order to just guide you through the different languages learning curve, I'm also sharing that what different technologies takes average learning time. Number 2, ecosystem. So does the stack have really good community support, tutorials, library, and job demand? A strong ecosystem means when you are stuck, you are not the only one who has faced this problem now. There are high chances that the same problem might have been faced by some other person and they would have solved it. So there are multiple chances that you will actually found the solution over Stack Overflow or on ChatGPT or on any other sites, but there is a high chances that you will get the solution. A weak ecosystem means you will spend more time solving it because you are alone in that. For example, React has a very mature tooling when it comes to routing, state management, or UI libraries because React has been quite old now. But if we compare it with a very new framework, then it would not necessarily have that support. Number 3, scalability. So can this stack actually handle growth in users, traffic, or data storage without breaking later? What works for 1,000 users may not actually work for 1 lakh or say 10 lakh users. So you need to think about performance, concurrency, database design, caching, and system stability as the project grows. Because if something breaks after 10,000 users, it would not be considered as a good project or as a good development you have done. Some tools are great for quick MVPs if your client wants just a proof of concept of what they have in mind, but they may struggle under heavy load if it comes. You accordingly need to decide this based on the client requirement and what are their expectations. For example, a simple booking app built without proper database transactions might work fine for now. But once multiple users try booking the same slot at the same time, you will face race conditions and data conflicts later. Number 4, cost. So every tech stack comes with infrastructure, development, hosting, and long-term maintenance cost. The goal isn't just to choose the most powerful stack, because not always you will want the most powerful stack. Sometimes it's to choose the most cost efficient stack which actually fits your client's need. So there the cost can actually be multiple things, like it can be hosting costs, third party services, infrastructure related costs, or even payment gateway requirement costs that they charge. So an over engineered stack necessarily increases expense without the real benefit. For example, using microservices and Kubernetes for a small business website can make things unnecessarily expensive and complicated. In most cases, a simple single server setup hosted on a managed cloud services can do the same job, but at a very lower cost and less maintenance. Number 5, competitor stack. So look at what the other competitors are building, which are using the same features as the client want in their product. Not to copy them blindly, but to understand what has already worked for the industry in past. If multiple successful products in the same niche or space are using a certain stack, there's usually a practical reason behind it: performance, reliability, or even ecosystem support. For example, if most slot booking platforms use relational database like PostgreSQL, it's likely because transactions and data consistency are critical for that functionality. Choosing a random database just because it's trendy actually can create serious problems later. Number 6, market trend. So is this technology still growing or is it slowly fading away? As a developer, you should spend your time learning tools and stay useful for many years. It's actually not about following the hype, it's about choosing something stable that's keep improving. For example, technologies like Node.js and Python are still widely used and actively maintained, but some frameworks become popular for a short time and then they slowly disappear, making your effort less valuable in the long run. So now let's come to the third part of this video. If you are a complete beginner and you have absolutely no idea of which tech stack to use because you have worked in none of these, then no worries. I have come up with 10 examples of different industries that are absolutely enough to get you started. So I have this table which actually tells us that if your product type is this, then in what basis you should think about it and why it matters, and the best recommended stack for each one of these. First, we have the example of a marketing site. It can be a blog site or even news site which have regular content update. So before deciding it, what things that you need to keep in mind: the SEO priority, frequent content publishing, how frequent the content is being published, and you also need to keep in mind that many times a non-technical content team is there because they have to keep on doing it, and the coder is not always involved. So why it matters? Because the site needs very fast load times, strong SEO, and easy content management. Then the best recommended stack would be Next.js because it has incremental static regeneration. More on this you can check out this video I have already made. And headless CMS you can use with Sanity. I also have a video on this, that headless CMS Sanity actually makes it very easy to get the content updated without having any coding knowledge. And then for hosting we can use Vercel and CDN for faster load time. If you have an e-commerce site, so custom pricing logic is there, inventory management is there, or high traffic during sales. These things you need to keep in mind. You just need to ask your client that what are the expected traffic and how many products are there. Accordingly, you can see that does it need secure payments, performance, reliable database consistency. An example of a recommended tech stack would be Next.js plus Nest.js, and because it will have transaction heavy site, because that is why we can use PostgreSQL, Redis, and Stripe for the payment management. Accordingly, you can, for an e-commerce site, you can even go for Shopify or WooCommerce. WooCommerce is by WordPress. Shopify is a different platform, so you can even use those as well if the clients wants a CMS for that. And then if you have a SaaS platform, multiple tenant user, multiple different types of users, subscription billing, role based access, long term growth, based on all these factors, we can see that it requires scalable backend, which might you need to scale a lot in future. Clean architecture you need to have, because multiple features could be there in future. Background jobs should be there, and billing integration. For this, we can use Next.js, PostgreSQL, Redis, and Stripe again. If you have a brand static sites, that is mostly static pages and rarely update are there, just primarily design is just the focus and only the speed, and it's primarily informational, then you just don't need to use any complex things. You can just go with Astro, that is a framework. You can use Tailwind for styling, and you can use static hosting on Netlify or Versa. If you have a portfolio or image heavy sites, which like photographers have it, so you would require high resolution images on it, visual performance critical, then on the basis of it we can see it requires image optimization to a great extent and CDN support, so that the image loads very fast. So for this, you can use Next.js as well as Cloudinary and Vercel. Cloudinary is basically, you can even use S3 bucket. So that is a cloud image storing platform. You can use Cloudinary on or S3 bucket. So these options you have. Then we have video platforms. Sometimes there are courses and podcast websites like Udemy, which basically gives courses and all videos. So in this case, private videos are there, streaming quality, subscription model. So based on this, we know that it needs required video delivery, CDN streaming should be there, and payment handling for the subscription. So in this case, you can go with Next.js, Node.js, PostgreSQL, Mux, and Stripe. Simple. If you have a simple landing page that just have a contact form and it is primarily used for lead capturing, and you just need to fast launch it, because landing pages are primarily used with Google Ads, and you just want a landing page to be integrated with a campaign. So in this case, you can use just Webflow, fastest for launch and edits. And we also have Unbound. So multiple platforms are like this already there. So if you just want a landing page in just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that also can be done. Then we have business corporate sites, which have like multilingual feature, multiple teams managing content, and structured pages. Then you can go with headless WordPress. So headless WordPress, as in you can without going for a particular theme or styling, you can just get your own design made. Then you can create the same on HTML, CSS, JS, and WordPress you can just use for the content management side. Only for uploading the content team can add it on the WordPress. They can add it through the dashboard, and the same will be integrated onto your design. Next, we have event sites that have very short life cycle, and it may have ticketing, validation. So you need to ensure that the payment integration is done, temporarily scalability, because for a shorter time period, they may have a huge traffic. For this, you can use Next.js, and for authentication and all, you can use Firebase. For payment, you can use Stripe. Next, we have the slot booking sites, which have real-time slot availability. In this case, you need to ensure that two users should not be able to book a slot of same time, and database locking mechanism should be there. For this, you can use Next.js, Node.js in the backend. Database, you can use PostgreSQL, and Redis for slot locking. So these are the different options, the tech stack options that you can go for. But it's not that I have used Next.js in most of them, then they are only limited to using Next.js. You can absolutely use any different, you can use anything in front end, back end, just provided that it should be easily integrated. Because if you use PHP with Node.js, it's not a very traditional, like it, you may not have quite good support in that. So just be ensured that they both are easily integrated, and then you can have n numbers of this tech stack. It's not only limited to just one. You can use absolutely many combinations to deciding your front end, back end, database, and all of that. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching.